Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. There we go, launching. Great to have you along this morning. The weekend is right around the corner, so hang in there.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in a no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Great to have you along. Greg Belfrage Show on Friday, March, 28th today. I'm terrible with the dates. Great to have you along this morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Did you happen to see the interview with Elon Musk last night on Brett Baer's special report? This is just absolutely incredible. Elon Musk was there with members of the Doge team, and they were talking about what they're doing with cost cutting. And this is, I think, just a massive story, because forget about what the legacy media is talking about, and they're on to a number of other things. They're choosing some of the most salacious, moments from this interview that Brett Baer had with Elon Musk, and they're focusing primarily on that. The reality is just absolutely incredible. So Elon Musk told Brett Baer, he said, "We want to reduce spending by eliminating waste and fraud and reduce the spending by 15%, which seems really quite achievable," he said. "The government is not efficient." This is, I don't think, a surprise to many of us. The government is not efficient. There's a lot of waste and fraud. So we feel confident that a 15%, now this is what we're talking about. You got people running around all over the country, screaming at the top of their lungs about a 15% reduction in the cost of the federal government. Keep that in mind. We're talking about trimming the federal government by 50%, 60%, 40%, 15% reduction in the cost of the federal government. And when you consider the amount of money that the federal government is throwing around, that's 15% is significant. I certainly believe. And Musk said it's quite achievable. The government is not efficient. There's a lot of waste and fraud. So we feel confident that a 15% reduction can be done without affecting any of the critical government services. So then he was there with how many, think over like a half dozen members of the Doge team who were also there. And folks were just blown away by this and what they were saying. And I'll get to some of the comments on X this morning coming up. But Elon Musk said this is a revolution, and I think it might be the biggest revolution in government since the original revolution. Do you have that feeling? I mean, I have had that feeling as well, that we are talking about a revolution against what the United States government has, but the federal government has become. And he said, but at the end of the day, America's going to be in much better shape. It's going to be a fantastic future. He also talked about some of the cuts they're making, and he said, before they make these cuts, they look at it not twice, but thrice. He said 3 times they take a look at it, and he said, he admitted that, they've made mistakes. They're not immune from mistakes. And they're correcting those when they find them, which is true. We've seen that happen where cuts have taken place. And then, so he says they're looking at them again 3 times before they're making these cuts. So Elon Musk was there. 7 Doge members then illustrating things that were going on and what they were finding. Some of this we've heard before. For instance, forgive me, I'm trying to take a look at this was Steve Davis. Steve Davis said there are in the federal government around 4.6 million credit cards for around 2.3 to 2.4 million employees. This doesn't make sense. So one of the things all of the teams have worked on is we've worked for the agencies and said, do you need all of these credit cards? Are they being used? Can you tell us physically where they are? And Elon Musk said, clearly there should not be more credit cards than there are people. And they are finding a number of things. Now, Elon Musk said at one point in the interview, and these are some of, I'm going to X, and these are things that are popping out to people who watched it on X. Elon Musk said, if a commercial company operated the way the federal government does, it'd immediately go bankrupt and officers would be arrested. And he said, wouldn't it be nice if this is Charlie Kirk responding and said, wouldn't it be nice if the federal government could pass the same audit that it requires of private companies? Yeah, absolutely right. Elon Musk saying the federal government spent $1 billion on a survey that would have cost $10,000 on SurveyMonkey. Did you catch this? This is pretty amazing. He said there was literally a 10 question. Now, I've used SurveyMonkey before. And he said there was literally a 10 question survey that you could do with SurveyMonkey for $10,000 that the government was charged almost $1 billion for. Wow. And then he went into details about it. So, and again, he's saying you could have done, and the thing was they spent about $1 billion on the survey and results are being compiled and sent to nowhere. So you're conducting you're spending money on a survey. Why would you spend money on a survey? If, you know, as I said, I've used SurveyMonkey here at Kellogg before. And when you do that, you're interested in what people are saying. You want to find out any one of a number of things. So you're asking folks, because why? You're interested in what they have to say. You're interested in what the responses are. Federal government, yeah, responses are sent to nowhere and nobody does anything with it. Wow. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. Tyler, is it Hassan? I think it's Tyler Hassan. He's a staffer at Doge. And he said, now again, these are, comments that are jumping out to people on X. I was running 5 businesses in Houston and I left that. I left great people to do this. I feel like this is me giving back to the country. Wow. How are you not moved by that? What these people are saying. And the work that they're doing, this is the big story. Also, the founder of Airbnb, currently working with Doge on the federal retirement process. And he said, so remember, everything currently is processed and stored in a cave. Now, that sounds like a joke. It's not. We've shared this story with you previously. Literally, it's in a cave. Antiquated government systems. And so now you've got the founder of Airbnb saying this will be an online digital process that will take just a few days at most. It's an injustice to civil servants who are subjected to these processes that are older than half of the people watching your show. This is what he's telling Brett Baer. And it is just absolutely incredible. And Steve Davis, again, of Doge, there are in the federal government around 4.6 million credit cards for around 2.3 to 2.4 million employees. Doesn't make sense. And this just goes on. It's absolutely incredible. There was a moment when Bret Baier asked Musk about Senator Mark Kelly. He's a Democrat from Arizona. And Kelly's off on the deep end on a lot of issues. And Elon Musk referred to him as a traitor because he visited Ukraine and then insisted that the United States support Ukraine. And so Bret Baier, and I think is legitimate. Elon Musk, if you follow his X account, often responds to things there's a lot of brevity. One or two words. Oftentimes you get Elon Musk responding to someone. And Elon Musk said of Senator Mark Kelly, traitor, he said. And so, again, Kelly is out there saying the U.S. should not give up on Ukraine. And why did Elon Musk call Senator Kelly a traitor? And Elon Musk, watch his response, as I did this morning on X. He's a very thoughtful person, Elon Musk. And he stops and he says, I think somebody should care about the interests of the United States above the interests of another country. If they don't, they're a traitor. Wow. And then Bret Baier didn't want to let it go there. And I don't blame Baier for this. It's legit. You got a decorated veteran, former astronaut. He's a sitting senator. And then Elon Musk just said, that doesn't mean it's okay for him to put the interests of another country above America. Wow. They got Senator Kelly responding to that. And frankly, it's just more noise. That is just a huge story this morning. We'll talk about that coming up. Again, I just caught some snippets of this morning. And the reaction on X from folks is just, wow. As people are watching this. And of course, the legacy media, crickets. They're on to other things. You got to give Bret Baier and Fox News credit for getting this information out there. They've done. Bret Baier is somebody I greatly admire, and I appreciate their work in getting this information out there. Other big stories this morning, the president. Let's go to the president's True Social account. He announced this yesterday. He said, as we advance our America First agenda, it's essential that we maintain every Republican seat in Congress. We must be unified. And he said, and Elise Stefanik has been a vital part of our efforts from the very beginning. I have asked Elise, as one of my biggest allies, to remain in Congress to help me deliver historic tax cuts, great jobs, record economic growth, a secure border, energy dominance, peace through strength, and much more, so that we can make America great again. With a very tight majority, I don't want to take a chance on anyone else running for Elise's seat. The people love Elise, and with her, we have nothing to worry about come election day. There are others that can do a good job at the United Nations. Therefore, Elise will stay in Congress, rejoin the House leadership team, and continue to fight for our amazing American people, he said. Speaker Johnson is thrilled. I look forward to the day when Elise is able to join my administration in the future. She is absolutely fantastic, he writes. Thank you, Elise. So that's a big story this morning. Elise Stefanik, who had been Donald Trump's choice then as ambassador to the United Nations, the president announcing yesterday she's going to stay in Congress. New York Post has got a story this morning. The headline is Trump more popular than ever Percentage of Americans who think country is on the right track through the roof, says CNN. CNN being forced to. So they're saying President Trump's popularity is at a record high as the largest share of Americans in decades believe the country is on the right track. They say, well, the president's current net favorable rating is in the negatives at -4%. He's making steady progress in the right direction. His numbers are higher than they've ever been before. Now, keep in mind, so you hear, well, -4%. Yeah, the country is, as you know, very, very, very fractured, and very split. And it's pretty incredible, the numbers that we're seeing. Other big stories this morning. We carried portion of the news conference for you yesterday with Attorney General Pam Bondi detailing the arrest of one of the top leaders, she says, of MS-13. And he was arrested early yesterday morning in Virginia, had likely been in the United States for over 10 years. So she, during an interview on the Ingram Angle, she talked about him. She said, we believe he was recruited in middle school. In middle school, she said. He's been living here illegally with friends and family. And the Biden administration did absolutely nothing to deport these people. As the president says, we didn't need new laws. We needed a new president to fix this. So he was taken into custody on an outstanding warrant, charged with illegal gun possession. You've seen the photos of a lot of the material that they found during these raids. You had like 350 different people who were arrested as a result of this. And Bondi saying yesterday that this guy, one of the worst of the worst, Kash Patel was also there, the director of the FBI. He says, this is what happens when you let good cops be cops, he said. Governor Glenn Youngkin was also there, and Patel said it was an honor to work with the Attorney General, Customs and Border Patrol, Governor Youngkin, he said. No, this is Kash Patel. The arrest of an MS-13 leader this morning, a critical victory for law enforcement and a strong message to violent gangs. Your days of terrorizing our communities are numbered. How do you not rejoice over this? Some people don't. Some people don't. They want to see the United States crumble. I celebrate this kind of stuff. It's absolutely incredible. All right, there's a story this morning, and you heard Joe Bowman covering this. You may have seen some of the coverage on Kettleland TV yesterday. This is a Jewish comedian who was heckled at a comedy show in Sioux Falls this weekend. And he's a Jewish comedian. And he was at Lucky's Club 224 on Saturday night when a person, he said, he told Kettleland TV, in the middle of my joke, he stood up and immediately started, filling the air with hate speech. And the crowd was shocked. So he posted the video to his social media, and it's taken off. Got over 7 million views. TMZ is also now reporting on this. And this frosts me. This just absolutely enrages me. You could, I'm a native of Sioux Falls, and I like to think, it's a beautiful little community. No. I mean, we've got people who would engage in this kind of stuff in our community. You know what I want to know? I want to find out who this person is, and I hope to smear their name all over the damn place, because that is so enraging to me, that we've got people in our community that do stuff like that. seriously, I don't often feel that way, but that is just when people behave in that kind of way, they deserve. Let's get their name out there, and then you know, because if you're the employer then of this person, and we've seen this happen before. You're the employer of this person. You know what winds up happening? Yeah, sorry, we don't like all of the negative attention you're out there. You're representing our company, whether you're on the job or not. You see these folks, and I'm not saying this ought to happen. I'm also saying I don't shed any tears when it does happen. These folks wind up getting fired. That to me is just absolutely over the top. We shouldn't accept that in our community. We just shouldn't. Also, other big stories this morning. You've got Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services, announcing changes yesterday, cutting 10,000 full-time employees. And so they're reducing their workforce by 10,000 employees. And like you heard from Doge and what they were saying yesterday, the waste, Kennedy says, is absolutely incredible. And he wants to focus on delivering services then to people. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show at 627. Mostly clear in 54. This hour of our show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Weekday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires. They give you more. Yeah, I must ask myself 100 times a day, what in the world is wrong with people, man? What is wrong with people?
Is a wound that won't heal holding you back? At Midwest Hyperbarics, their oxygen therapy accelerates the natural.
But you watch that stuff on social media and you're part of that culture of hate, and that's what it is. I mean, there is a culture of hate that's out there, and it resides on the left. And when you see that in our community, it's really outrageous to me. It's, oh.
They offer affordable leasing and financing options tailored to your needs. Plus, their dedicated team ensures exceptional service and parts to keep your equipment running smoothly. Get the equipment and trucks you need without the stress. Visit TranssourceUSA.com. That's TranssourceUSA.com. Your Volvo, CE, and Max sales dealer. Transource Truck and Equipment.
Emergencies strike at any time without warning. When they do, food disappears fast. That's why prepared Americans trust My Patriot Supply, the leader in long-term emergency food storage, to protect their families. For a limited time, order their best-selling 4-week emergency food supply and get 4 free 72-hour food kits. That's
Excuse me.
Extra days of food at no extra cost. That's nearly 2 weeks of extra food, free to keep your family secure. Plus, free shipping. Order by 3 p.m. for same-day shipping. All kits deliver 2,000 calories per day of easy-to-prepare meals with a shelf life up to 25 years. These kits that have been rated 4.8 out of 5 stars by tens of thousands of folks like you. When the next crisis hits, you'll be ready. Stock up now at MyPatriotSupply.com before this deal disappears. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com for your 4-week emergency food supply.
.630, mostly cloudy and 54 at Kello. Fox News Radio coming up in moments. Then we'll check in with Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. A video from a comedy show in Sioux Falls. It's going viral nationally. But I think there's little funny about it. Joe will have details. Also, the Sioux Falls School District preparing to cut $3 million from their budget. Joe will have details on those stories and more coming up in moments.
I'm Chris Foster. A major earthquake hits Thailand and Burma. This building was just moving, dust and debris. It was pretty intense. Fraser Morton's a Scottish tourist in Bangkok, Thailand, where several people are killed in a building collapse. People are also killed in the collapse of a mosque and a hotel in Burma. Vice President Vance heads to Greenland today, which President Trump wants taken over by the U.S.
It was originally billed as Second Lady Usha Vance's first solo engagement. Now the Second Lady will be joined by her husband, the Vice President, of course, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Energy Secretary Chris Wright, and Utah Senator Mike Lee. They'll be heading to the Bidefik space base. They're expected to get a briefing on security issues and meet with service members.
Talks to Senator Rivera. Greenland's a territory of Denmark. Leaders of both expressed opposition to the now scaled-back visit. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. A video of a comedy show in Sioux Falls has gone viral, but there's nothing funny about it. Stand-up comedian Mike Glazer was performing at Lucky's downtown last weekend when a heckler started spouting off racial slurs aimed at his Jewish heritage. Security escorted the man out, but not before the whole crowd was left stunned. The video has been reposted across social media and YouTube. The Sioux Falls School District is preparing to cut $3 million from its budget. But Sioux Falls is not alone. Smaller districts like Flandreau and Del Rapids are also making some tough decisions. Lawmakers appear not increasing state education spending as much as expected, along with questions over federal funding, have led school districts throughout South Dakota to make budget cuts. South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds criticizing officials for leaking sensitive information about a Yemen operation on Signal. Appearing on CNN, Rounds called it a mistake that overshadowed a successful military mission. Rounds and other lawmakers are now looking into just how a journalist gained access to the confidential chat group. South Dakota Senator John Thune says he's had enough of the delays on connecting rural areas to broadband internet services. He says Congress created a $42 billion fund to make those connections 3 years ago. But because the program was choked with regulations requiring union labor and climate restrictions, it hasn't connected a single household.
It's easier to get it out Friday than
Union
the other
labor,
day.
climate requirements.
Thank you, Bill.
Despite the law itself banning rate regulation, the Biden administration tried to add that too.
Thune says he's working with the Trump administration to remove the barriers and get the program moving. Governor Larry Roden has wrapped up week 2 of his Open for Opportunity tour of the state. He says he's working on resetting relationships as part of the tour. Roden says new South Dakota residents who've moved to the state have provided a good perspective.
And they are elated to be in South Dakota, and they're bragging us up and comparing us to what they came from. So I think we take way too much for granted as South Dakotans.
Governor Roden visits Fox Elder today. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Almost hot weather today in Sioux Falls. High temperature 88. That would be an all-time record if we can set that for the month of March. Southwest winds 10 to 20. Very high fire danger today as well. Red flag warning. Tonight's low 42. Chance of rain after midnight. Rain likely off and on tomorrow. Maybe some snow by tomorrow night. From the Storm Center at Kibbeland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
Kello stands for news. Always has, always will. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9 and Kello.com.
When we think of artificial intelligence taking jobs, we think of data entry clerks, customer service reps, proofreaders, telemarketers, and graphic artists. But there's one area that AI is about to invade no one saw coming. I'm Kim Commando. Protect your home. Go to HometitleLock.com. Use promo code KIM for a free 2-week trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. HometitleLock.com. Promo code KIM. America's well-stocked giant grocery stores are about to change. In today's supermarkets, when you can't find the item that you need, you just ask any employee. They know the aisle. These folks are about to be replaced with small, in-the-aisle AI devices. Ask them where something is and get an instant answer. And that's not all. According to the LA Times, scientists at MIT have invented the robo-bagger. And bag boys, sometimes women and girls, are about to go the way of the 6-ounce Coca-Cola bottles and TV dinners in foil trays. Sign up for my free newsletter now at getkim.com. Title theft is a growing real estate scam targeting the $32 trillion in American homeowners' equity. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee, and file with your county. Then, your home's title and its equity are in the hands of a criminal. So when is the last time you checked your home title? If you're like me, the answer is never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on.
Robert, Robert is saying that he misses civility. So do I.
When you sign up, you'll also receive a free 14-day trial of their
and I have to keep that in mind when it comes to my own behavior. I'll be right back.
Property. Urgent alerts if there are any changes. And if fraud should happen, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost. Your satisfaction is guaranteed, and you can cancel anytime. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and use promo code Kim for the protection you deserve.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. It's the perfect time to start planning for outdoor projects. Loctite Landscape Construction Adhesive works great for securing blocks, bricks, and stone. It's a true all-weather application that's water-resistant. Save big on Loctite adhesives when you shop at Menards. Plus, check out the weekly flyer on Menards.com for plenty more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Come to the Washington Pavilion and come face to face with the genius of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. The South Dakota Symphony and Chorus under Delta David Geyer performs Mozart's magnificent Mass in C minor, sponsored by Avera Journey Group. Tickets start at $19. Visit SD Symphony.
Just in time.
Or call 605-731-2440. Saturday, April 5th. One performance only at the Washington Pavilion. Mozart's glorious Mass in C minor with the South Dakota Symphony Orchestra.
On Kello Radio, you always get entertaining talk and news when it happens. And at Kello.com, there's even more, like local stories and podcasts that make life in South Dakota even better. So it's Kello Radio for what you need to know, and Kello.com for what you want to know even more. Kello News Talk.
I love this song. All right, 638. Mostly clear in 54. Hey, congratulations to the Sioux Falls Stampede. They won last night. Started their weekend with a 3-2 win over the Omaha Lancers. Wow, the Sioux Falls Stampede have been hot. They've got another game coming up tonight. You can hear that on Kello. They're on the road right now, so you can hear the game tonight on Kello. It'll get underway. Pre-game starts at 6:40 tonight, but best of luck to the Sioux Falls Stampede. They have really been on a roll. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show, brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag is the news and views from Belf's News Guy.
These are stories that are trending via FreeSpoke. FreeSpoke.com does an excellent job of showing you stories that are trending throughout the country and world. Attorney General Pam Bondi yesterday, we had federal law enforcement officers capturing an alleged major leader of the MS-13 gang, announcing this yesterday morning. He's 24 years old. He was arrested in the early hours yesterday in Virginia. So she was present for the raid along with FBI Director Kash Patel. And they said this man was the leader for the East Coast, one of the top 3 in the entire country. Right here in Virginia, they said, living half an hour outside of Washington, D.C. He is an illegal alien from El Salvador, and he will not be living in our country much longer. Bondi said. That was a huge story yesterday. Also, a federal appeals court decided on Wednesday they refused to lift Judge Boasberg's order blocking the Trump administration from deporting illegal aliens under the Alien Enemies Act. So the Justice Department had urged the three-judge panel to immediately block Boasberg's order, which they did not do. There's been a lot of attention. The administration using this is admittedly, it's a rarely used law, and they're saying the Alien Enemies Act can only be invoked amid a declared war or an invasion by a foreign nation. Is that not what we're seeing? You believe that we're seeing an invasion by foreign nations? I think it's exactly what we've been seeing. Anyway, then you've got, well, we're talking about Judge Boasberg. Guess who is assigned to the lawsuit over the Signal group chat that we talked about yesterday? Boasberg. So he's assigned to the case. This is brought by a group called American Oversight, bringing against 5 of the cabinet members and Boasberg. Again, yeah, I think that's a name that we're going to be sharing a lot here as we move forward. Also, while we're talking about that Signal chat, the president of Signal is defending Signal's security. And Signal has gained popularity in the U.S. and Europe. And in a post on X, she reiterated that when legally compelled, that WhatsApp hands over revealing, data to authorities, and Signal widely regarded as a highly secure messaging service, but the leak of that is now got people questioning as to whether the use of Signal is the appropriate thing to do. Also, lest Congress suspends or raises the debt ceiling soon, U.S. government could default on our, we're currently $36.2 trillion in debt. So unless they suspend or raise the debt ceiling by mid-July, we could default. So there was an analysis that was published on Monday projecting the date of this, and we'll see where we go. Also, the White House withdrawing the nomination of Elise Stefanik to serve as a U.S. ambassador to the UN. And as I shared with you earlier this hour, the president's remarks on True Social, he says we need Elise Stefanik right now in the House of Representatives. So the president withdrawing her nomination and saying that it was just really important to keep her in the House of Representatives right now. Also trending this morning, and again, this is via Free Spoke, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services will lay off 10,000 workers, shut down entire agencies. And Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. criticized the department as a sprawling bureaucracy. He posted a video announcing the restructuring yesterday. And he faulted the department's 82,000 workers for a decline in the health of Americans. And he said, I want to promise you now that we're going to do more with less, he says in the video. And he said it'll be a painful period for HHS. They're responsible for monitoring infectious diseases inspecting foods, hospitals, overseeing health insurance programs, and he says they're going to do more with less as a result. And then I'm getting to a point where I'm almost going to stop sharing reaction because it's always, this is gloom and doom. It's the end of the world. This is going to be the end of the world. Oh, I just don't believe that. I don't believe it for a moment. I don't believe that the health of any American is going to be because we are right-sizing Health and Human Services. I absolutely refuse to believe that the health of Americans is at risk. You might call that stupid, naive. I'm willing. That's fine with me. But I think as time goes on, that's going to be borne out. But folks just love to, knee-jerk reaction, kick and scream and bellyache, and government, the end of the government funding. Wow. I refuse to let my life come down to federal government funding. Also, this is an intriguing story about the CIA used experimental intelligence methods to try and find the Ark of the Covenant. And there are new revelations that are out, but they're new to the public. You and I are just hearing about it, but actually they're about 25 years old. So the Ark of the Covenant, if you're an Indiana Jones fan, you know of the Ark of the Covenant. In reality, the Ark of the Covenant is an important symbol in Jewish faith and history. And so in some recently resurfaced documents, the CIA outlines how they used a remote viewer to mentally locate the site of the artifact. And I think they used a psychic, I think, is what they actually did. That's a big story this morning. All right, we've got a number of sports stories that are trending this morning. Of course, yesterday, the opening day for Major League Baseball. Opening matchup between the Colorado Rockies and Tampa Bay Rays actually is scheduled for today, but 28 of 30 teams were in action yesterday. So the New York Yankees and Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers got the save for the win. And then after that, things really heated up. 9 games that started late yesterday afternoon, 2 extra inning games, a number of down-to-the-wire finishes, according to ESPN. A win by the Los Angeles Dodgers. They had a win over the Detroit Tigers. The opening day of Major League Baseball yesterday. You also had the NCAA tournament beginning last night. So there are a lot of sports stories that are trending. Also, college football analyst Gary Danielson announcing his plans to retire from CBS Sports following this year's season. So he's a college football analyst for CBS, and he announced his retirement plans yesterday. So retiring as a college football analyst. Another sports story that's trending this morning, Matt Stevens was a former Super Bowl winning safety for the New England Patriots, has died at the age of 51. And his family, there are stories about his cause of death and what happened. I think the exact cause at this point has not been disclosed, at least according to reports I'm seeing. His family reacting, calling him a beloved son and father. But Matt Stevens has died at the age of 51. Also trending this morning, the Los Angeles Dodgers have accepted, they're the World Series champion Dodgers. They've accepted an invitation to the White House by Donald Trump. They're calling it a great honor, which of course it is, regardless of who's president. And that's not stopping people from belly aching. Fox News has a story this morning. The Dodgers their decision to visit the White House sends fans spiraling. You have people upset, and it's out of just overreacting, and it's like, what else is new? We have just lost any ability to be objective. I mean, I look at that. I shared this on social media this morning. It's like, okay, another trip to Bizarro World. Here we go. Now we got fans upset. You'll never hear me upset when a sports team is invited to the White House, and I don't care who the president is. When Joe Biden was president, when Barack Obama was president, when Bill Clinton was president, you didn't hear me belly aching about, these teams going to the White House and their outrage. And it's just like, what an absolute waste of energy, man. What a waste of energy. Oh, wow. I mean, my life is not, I just got more going on in my life than to care about stuff like that. That just amazes me. And people get all worked up. That's the social media effect, I think, as well as the Bizarro World effect that we see going on all throughout the planet. Okay. U.S. fourth quarter GDP revised slightly up to an annual rate of 2.4%. That story's trending. You've got the Prime Minister of Canada, who made remarks yesterday saying the old relationship with the United States is over, vowing to engage in a renegotiation over a trade agreement. And so he was speaking with the media yesterday, and he said, the old relationship we had with the United States based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations is over. The time will come for a broad renegotiation of our security and trade relationship. And he said, what the U.S. will do next is unclear. I don't know. I think it's pretty clear. I think Donald Trump has been incredibly clear as to where we're going next. And you know what? Redefining that relationship. How do you feel about the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, saying the old relationship that Canada has with the U.S. is over? Into that. Uplifting, right? You go, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's a time to revisit. Isn't that what Donald Trump has been saying? Is, hey, these old relationships, no. No, we're in the driver's seat and we're going to put America first. I'm totally fine with that. I have no problem with this. Absolutely none whatsoever. What Elon Musk was talking about with Senator Mark Kelly. Senator Mark Kelly putting Ukraine's interests over the interests of the United States. No. It's the same thing here. Putting the interests of Canada over the United States. No. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do that anymore. I'm just invigorated by this stuff. I hope you are too. Also, Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, visited a prison in El Salvador where a number of Venezuelans are currently being held. She was there this week, and the stories it's been a big story most of this week. So The prisoners were wearing white shirts and shorts, and in a number of photos, they weren't wearing shirts at all. You can see they're covered in tattoos all over. She posted a few videos on X. That story is trending. Also this morning, the Sundance Film Festival has been located in Park City, Utah for decades. They will be relocating to Boulder, Colorado. Also, Trump Hotel is being sued after a woman died following an incident involving a revolving door. And a lawsuit claims that she was violently ejected from the revolving door at the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. This is the story from First Post saying that China remains the United States' top military and cyber threat. This was according to a report by U.S. intelligence agencies published earlier this week. It's the annual threat assessment. China can strike the U.S. with conventional weapons, disrupt critical infrastructure through cyber attacks, and target American assets in space. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Thanks for starting your day with us. 657, mostly clear, 54. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
The sharks in your think tank. You're going to need a bigger boat.
Thanks, my friend, for starting the day with us. I really do appreciate it. I hope you'll be back for the fourth hour coming up at 9:30 this morning. Otherwise, you have a great weekend. See you again soon.
United States Army Field Band and Soldiers Chorus from Washington, D.C.